Today, we talk about the dialysis-free protocol. This is the fastest, best documented way in which end-stage CKD patients have actually cut their creatinine in half and avoided dialysis. Yes, it really happened. It's in the study. Okay, I know what you may be thinking. How on earth are these patients in stage 5 kidney disease improving their kidney function when your doc said that even CKD stage 3 is like playing poker with a pair of twos? Well, here's the plot twist. Researchers are using a method that is a little bit more outside the box thinking, maybe even exotic, compared to what most doctors do for CKD patients. The old wait-and-see approach. And now the interesting part, you are going to be able to use many of their findings to actually improve. Because remember, it's all fun and games until someone's kidneys start working better. Speaking of which, don't miss the last entry of this video because that's where the biggest part of the results these end-stage patients got came from. You have been warned. Before that, let's check out the protocol that had end-stage CKD patients waving goodbye to their dialysis machines. This method was so insanely effective that researchers started calling it the dialysis-free protocol. Yes, you heard that right. This is the 3-step miracle plan that effectively helped patients ditch dialysis. And here's the kicker. The 3 parts of this protocol can be used by any kidney disease patient no matter what stage they're in to slow or even stop the progression of the disease. So what's the deal with this dialysis-free protocol and how does it work? Spoiler alert, it's all about uremic toxin absorbents. But what are uremic toxin absorbents and how do they stop the need for dialysis? Well, the super uremic toxin absorbent they use is actually a little black pill called AST-120. Which is a modified version of activated charcoal. In a medical setting, activated charcoal is used in the emergency treatment of certain kinds of poisoning and intoxication. Activated charcoal is like the vacuum cleaner of the digestive tract. It sucks up everything from poisons to those double bacon cheeseburgers with a side of cholesterol you had for lunch. Yes, this detox dynamo binds to, well, pretty much everything in the intestine and kicks it all out through the stool. Now, this is both fantastic and a little bit of a problem. I mean, who doesn't love getting rid of toxins and cholesterol? But what happens when activated charcoal also decides to evict your medications, vitamins, and other essential nutrients? Oopsie daisy! Yeah, this is why it's not recommended to use this one on the long term. AST-120 was created exactly to solve this issue. The idea here was simply to give CKD patients a detoxifier that's extremely effective at binding to uremic toxins in the intestine while leaving the rest almost untouched. This works because uremic toxins are, stuff such as ammonia, urea, uric acid, and creatinine. And these toxins are the reason why when kidney damage starts to happen, it's so hard to stop it. When these toxins start to accumulate, they will seriously amplify the damage to the kidneys. And this is what you need to know about AST-120. And if you have never heard about this medication, it's because we can't get it in Europe or the US. I mean, since it actually works, naturally, we can't get it here. Because why would we want to actually try and do something about CKD when we can just sit around and wait for our kidneys to throw in the towel, right? But on the other hand, if you live in one of those countries where this prescription is used, and with some success as well, such as Japan and some other Asian countries, ask your doctor for it. Now, luckily for us, even if AST-120 is as elusive as a cat at bath time, we've got other tricks to detoxify those toxins. So question, what can we use every day to get rid of uremic toxins? Well, there are certain supplements that CKD patients are supposed to take when they are dealing with excess toxins in their body. Yeah, even in the US and Europe. Now, these supplements are taken on a lab value basis, not on a wing and prayer basis, alright? I mean, I don't see no crystal balls here, right? In fact, as someone who is specialized in CKD, when a new patient comes in, one of the first things I do is check their latest blood work like a detective hunting for clues. But how do I tell if a patient needs a detoxifier? Well, the first clue is always the amount of acid in blood. But the way we know if a patient has too much acid in blood is not by looking at their pH or anything like that. No, we search for what's missing, which is serum bicarbonate, or as your blood analysis call it, CO2. If this level is too low, below 22 milliequivalents per liter, the patient needs sodium bicarbonate. Now, making sure CO2 is in the right range is of key importance in CKD patients, but many doctors simply forget to check that level, which is just like driving your car with the oil light on for a year and then being shocked when the engine doesn't start anymore. And I'm not even exaggerating. You see, having too much acid in the body is one of the fastest ways to end up in dialysis. This is especially common in CKD patients who still eat meat. Alright, so don't eat meat. Also because having too much acid in blood causes electrolyte imbalances such as having too much potassium in the blood. Hello, hyperkalemia.
Wait. What?
Oh, you thought eating bananas and potatoes was the potassium bad guy? Nope, eating meat is a way more likely cause of hyperkalemia, as we can clearly read. I mean, who knew? Yeah, the human body is more complicated than IKEA instructions, and we all know how fun those are. Now, when it comes to sodium bicarbonate, a good starting dose is 650 milligrams 3 times a day, but this dose needs to be adjusted depending on your labs, alright? Don't just chug it like a frat boy with a beer bong. Now, another toxin most CKD patients are supposed to be treated for is excessive phosphorus level, or as we in the biz call it, hyperphosphatemia. Because who doesn't love the sound of fancy medical terms? And this is even worse than excess acid because surprise, surprise! A lot of CKD patients aren't even being tested for this, which is just like driving a car without a check engine light because the last mechanic yanked it out with a pair of pliers. Real safe, right? I mean, I don't know if my analogy quite captures the absurdity of not being tested for phosphorus levels, but it's a disaster waiting to happen. Seriously, if your doctor hasn't checked this, it's time to have a little chat. Never ever let your serum phosphorus soar above 4.6 milligrams per DL if you have CKD. Now, here's the kicker about serum phosphorus. Most labs will mark a level of 5.0 milligrams per DL as in range. Spoiler alert, it's not. If you have CKD, your phosphorus level should be lower than the general populations. No more than 4.6 milligrams per DL, and I frankly would prefer it to be much lower than that. But how do we get there, you may ask? Well, with calcium carbonate as a phosphate binder. A good starting dose will be 1250 milligrams of calcium carbonate, 500 milligrams of elemental calcium 3 times a day before meals. Then you check the level again and you adjust the dose. Sounds like a chemistry class, right? That's why you talk to a specialist when you have kidney disease. Now guys, toxin binders are not the only component of the protocol that was given to these patients to avoid dialysis in stage 5. So, given that limiting the impact of uremic toxins is how you avoid dialysis, what else should we do to take care of uremic toxins, you may ask? Well, let's take a look at the next part of the protocol because that's going to help a lot. This is the second part of this protocol, and believe it or not, since reducing toxins is how you dodge dialysis, the second part of the dialysis-free protocol is also a detoxifier. This is called lactulose, which is an oral prebiotic, and it has a different mechanisms of action from AST 120, because otherwise these two wouldn't work when taken together. And you see, lactulose gets the toxins out of the gut in 3 ways. First, it works as a laxative. This is important because in CKD patients, a lot more toxins will get from the intestine to the bloodstream if they are constipated, alright? Yeah, you gotta get stuff moving in order to get stuff outside the body, right? Second, it works as a prebiotic, and it's actually linked to increased amounts of healthy bacteria, especially bifidobacteria and lactobacilli in the gut. Do not underestimate this property. Science has already pointed out that these two genera of bacteria are able to reduce the amount of kidney toxins that are produced in the gut, so keep that in mind. Now, the third way lactulose works is by directly lowering creatinine levels. I mean, this is what we can expect from a detoxifier, right? But how effective is it when taken alone? Well, in a different study conducted on stage 4 and 5 CKD patients, those taking lactulose were able to see their creatinine levels literally drop. They started the 8-week treatment period with 3.90 mg per dl creatinine on average and ended up with just 3.6. To achieve this incredible result, patients took lactulose 30 milliliters or 20 grams 3 times per day for 8 weeks. And of course, researchers believe that this incredible result is due to the ability of lactulose to greatly improving the gut microbiome in those with CKD. And while it had amazing results, I don't really recommend taking a laxative. I mean, unless you're in desperate need of a porcelain marathon. There are, in fact, better ways we can improve the amount of bifidobacteria and lactobacilli in our gut, so that these bacteria can get rid of uremic toxins for us. Something I often recommend is psyllium husk. This is a form of soluble fiber made from the husks of the Platango ovada plant's seeds. While some take this incredibly useful supplement to improve their regularity, overall gut health, and to fight both high cholesterol levels and diabetes, psyllium is also linked to a significant drop in creatinine levels in kidney patients. Test subjects had on average 2.44 milligrams per dl creatinine at the start of the study, but after taking 23 grams of fiber every day for just 4 weeks, their creatinine dropped to 2.21. This is very significant, especially because it was obtained just with dietary fiber. Now, if you want to try psyllium husk, which I recommend, remember that there are a couple of rules to follow. Always start small if you aren't taking fiber already, and don't take it the same time as prescriptions. The dose for psyllium is 5 to 10 grams 2-3 times a day. Taking it 15 to 30 minutes before meals is a great strategy to slow down sugar absorption and decrease cholesterol levels. Now guys, both taking detoxifiers and prebiotics can lead to significant lowering in creatinine levels, no doubt about it. But let's be real, these methods alone can't hold a candle to the jaw-dropping, almost 50% drop in creatinine levels observed in some patients on the dialysis-free protocol. Yeah, as I was saying, the biggest responsible for this incredible result was just one of the 3 parts of this protocol. So what is the last piece of the puzzle? Let's read directly from the published paper. Low protein diet 0.6 to 0.8 grams per kilograms with high biologic value, supplemented with carbohydrates and polyunsaturated fat. And of course, it's a low protein diet. I mean, what else could be saving a CKD stage 5 patient from dialysis? Now let's talk about the low protein diet for a moment, because honestly, too many of you are not following it. Am I wrong? I sincerely hope I am. I hope you're all religiously weighing every bite of food and using an app to track the protein content. Or that, if you can't stand the idea that you'd need a calculator for dinner, that you are at least following a diet crafted by a professional. So please let me know in comment section if you are following a renal diet or not. Let's talk about it, because this is the most effective way of stopping CKD progression and start to improve. But is the renal diet really a must for someone with CKD, you may ask? Now guys, I really understand that switching from a regular old diet to a low-protein, plant-based diet is a lot easier said than done. Starting a completely new diet is a huge step. It comes with many hurdles. Yeah, I got it. Swapping your beloved burgers for broccoli isn't exactly a culinary dream. Starting a completely new diet is like trying to teach an old dog new tricks. Except the dog is you, and the trick is eating like a rabbit. What the? But ask me if it's worth it. Guys, the renal diet may feel like playing Tetris with your meals, but it is the sine qua non of the treatment for kidney disease. It's extremely hard for a patient to improve without a low-protein plant-based diet, alright? In fact, the dialysis-free protocol we have seen today is all about reducing the amount of kidney toxins going around the body. And yeah, the remedies and prescription medications we have seen in this video can help reduce the amount of toxins, because they either bind to these toxins and prevent them from from entering the bloodstream, or they increase the amount of good bacteria in the gut in order for these bacteria to literally eat these toxins. But for many patients, especially those in stage 4 or 5 pre-dialysis, removing uremic toxins through the gut is like trying to empty a flooded basement with a bucket. What's 100 times more effective? Not letting those toxins party in your body in the first place. Okay, look. Do you remember that the use of detoxifiers is to remove toxins such as creatinine, urea, ammonia, and all the nasty stuff that damages the kidneys? And do you know where these toxins are coming from? Drum roll! It's protein! Yep! The protein you eat! When we eat protein, your body breaks it down into smaller parts called amino acids. As your body uses amino acids, it creates waste products. Think of it like burning fuel in a car. Think of it like burning fuel in a car. You get energy but also exhaust fumes. One of the most dangerous exhaust fumes protein generates is ammonia, which is incredibly toxic. I mean, have you ever noticed that many detergents have a warning on them that says that you can only use them in well-ventilated areas? Do you know why they have that warning? Because they contain ammonia. If you breathe that stuff, it can be very bad for your throat and lungs. Now imagine what ammonia can do to your kidneys when it is inside your body. Yeah, think about that the next time someone invites you out for a steak dinner. And this is only part of the reason why limiting protein intake is one of the main reasons why we are now able to tell patients that dialysis can be delayed by years, if not decades. So, if you want to learn more about the low protein diet, this video up here is for you. Some of the foods you may be eating every day are linked to a huge increase for the risk of ending up in dialysis, says huge new study. Prepare to be mind blown because, spoiler alert, today I'm here to show you that the more natural your diet is, the healthier your kidneys are going to be. Yes, incredible. The diet is key for a better kidney health. But guess what? There is a new study that's about to blow all the old rules right out the water. What's incredible is that these scientists just found out that some of the foods you may be eating every day are linked to a huge increase for the risk of fast CKD progression and, wait for it, all-cause mortality. And guys, don't miss the last entry in particular, because that's the worst veggie of them all. Yup, you heard it right. Time to rethink your snack stash. On the flip side, they've also demonstrated that many of the foods CKD patients have been religiously avoiding are actually super healthy. So grab a trash bag because it's time to start tossing stuff out of your pantry. Question: is bread the first thing we're going to renounce? Can you eat bread if you have CKD? Drum roll please! Yes, bread can be healthy. But hold your horses, there are a few catches. You want to steer clear of those ultra-processed breads that smell like a distillery and come with an ingredient list longer than your grocery receipt. You know, the ones loaded with barley malt, dextrose, maltodextrins, and a small army of creatively named sugars. Avoid that. On the other hand, whole wheat breads, especially the less processed kind, is good for you, even if you have diabetes, in moderation of course. And just so you know, this isn't my wild opinion. It's backed by a hefty 20-year prospective cohort study involving 2,539 CKD patients published in December 2023 in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases. Their findings are rock solid, alright? I would say this study is so solid, it could probably bench press all the misinformation about the renal diet you find on social media. And guys, yeah, this study is amazing and bread can be healthy, but your diet must be personalized, alright? In fact, there is a category of people to whom I would not recommend bread at all. These include those who are seriously struggling to lose weight. In that case, do it the Korean way. Put your veggies in a lettuce wrap and enjoy them that way. Up next, grits. Are grits healthy for CKD patients? Alright folks, from the southern United States, get ready to do a little happy dance. Grits are officially on the good for you list. Why, you may ask? Well, grapes are made from corn and are minimally processed. They come packed with fiber and vitamins and are naturally gluten-free. So basically, they're the Southern Belle of breakfast foods. But here's the kickers. You need to prepare grapes in a healthy way if you want them to actually be healthy. No, smoothing them in butter, cheese, ham, and sausages isn't going to cut it. I mean, that's a coronary waiting to happen. Try preparing them with veggies instead. Up next, what about milk? Sorry to burst your bubble, but milk is a no-go for CKD. It's packed with phosphorus, which is your express ticket to the dialysis chair. Okay, listen to me. The golden rule here, if it's animal-based, it's off limits for CKD patients with a GFR below 60, alright? That includes meat, fish, poultry, dairy, and eggs. It doesn't matter if it's organic, pasteurized, grass-fed, free-range, raw, or whatever other fancy label they slap on it. If it's animal-based, it's a no. And science is 100% clear on the fact that if you are still eating these foods, you are going to have a lot of problems in keeping your kidney function. Okay, up next, what about coffee? Can you indulge in a cup of joe with CKD? Or is coffee also going to damage your kidneys? Here's a shocker. Yes, coffee in moderation is actually good for you. That's right, the same study I mentioned earlier found that black coffee, whether caffeinated or decaffeinated, is beneficial in moderation. But don't ever think about that sugary concoction they serve at Starbucks. If your goal is better kidney health, keep it simple. And even drinking black coffee comes with a few exceptions, because it's true that coffee is full of antioxidants and it has an overall positive impact on your health, especially if you have diabetes. But some people are sensitive to caffeine, meaning that their blood pressure will skyrocket when they drink coffee. Avoid coffee if this describes you, or if you don't drink it already. I mean, coffee with CKD? Finally, a reason to wake up and smell the moderation. And guys, if you think this info is important, share this video with a friend and also give it a like so that more people will be able to see it. By the way guys, before we move on, I want to take a minute to say thank you to all the new members that joined the channel and that are supporting my work here. Sam, Marino Equivel, Eunice Can, Donna Jones, Susan Van Leer, Robert Warren, Oi Ho Kiam, and Robert Brown. And thank you also to all the other members. And guys, your support really means a lot to me. For those of you that don't know about this new feature of the channel, there is a little join button you can see right below my videos. And that's a way to help me create more of the content you like for less than what you pay for a coffee. So thank you, and let's get back to the video. So, fruit juices, are they good or are they bad? Well, shockingly enough, the new study found out that fruit juice is one of the worst food items ever to be associated with fruit. Definitely not healthy. I mean, if you think fruit juice is healthy in 2024, I've got a bridge somewhere to sell you. In fact, it's no secret that food companies are the masterminds behind today's growing obesity problem, and fruit juices are one of the culprits. If you're guzzling a cup or 250 milliliters of fruit juice, you're drowning up to 30 grams or 8 teaspoons of sugar. That's a calorie bomb that will hit your bloodstream faster than you can say sugar rush, causing an insulin spike. And added sugar is not just linked to diabetes, but also to high blood pressure, inflammation, heart disease, and a ton more health issues. So yeah, always steer clear of fruit juice. So what about zero sugar beverages? Okay, despite having no sugar, these beverages are still not healthy for you. As you can see in the study, they have grouped together both sugary and artificially sweetened beverages in the same group. They have also added meal replacement energy or high protein beverages as well. Avoid all this ultra processed stuff. Okay, what about carbonated water, you may ask? While carbonated beverages are definitely on the no-no list, carbonated water is on the healthy list. Yeah, it turns out it wasn't the carbonated part to worry about. No, evidence suggests that carbonated or sparkling water is bad for you, which means that carbonated water is just as healthy as still water. Up next, let's talk about fruit, starting with canned fruit. I mean, this is an easy one, right? Obviously, it must be bad. I mean, it's packaged, right? But wait, plot twist. You see, what the recent study we are examining found out is that canned fruit is just as healthy as any other fruit, which is like saying very healthy. Shocking, I know. But hey, this is only valid as long as it's packaged in water. If it's soaking in syrup or swimming with added sugars, it's a no-go. So, be a fruit snob with your canned choices. Also, double check the labels for added phosphates. You don't want those sneaky additives, and let's not go bananas and eat the whole can in one go, alright? Portion control, folks. I mean, overeating canned fruit, that's just fruitless behavior. But yes, canned fruit can indeed be healthy. So does that mean that also frozen fruit and veggies are healthy? Yes, absolutely. I love tossing frozen berries into my oatmeal or smoothies. It's like eating my breakfast as superfoods post. But also having mixed frozen veggies in your freezer can be a very convenient way of having veggies always ready. Fun fact, canned and frozen fruits and veggies are processed within hours of being picked. Alright, what this means is that these minimally processed fruit and veggies sometimes pack more nutrients than their word-traveling grocery store counterparts. Yeah, a shipping container is where many of the grocery store fruits we eat ripen. And what about high potassium fruits, you may ask? Bananas, tomatoes, avocados, you know, the usual suspects. Well, they're absolutely fantastic for you. Yeah, welcome to 2024 where dietary potassium is not the villain anymore. Finally, I would say. In fact, if your potassium levels are too high, the first thing a doctor should check is your meds, not your fruit bowl. That'll never work. Actually, ditching high potassium fruits might cause more problems than it fixes. So, are all fruits healthy? Hold that thought before you see the next entry. First on the nasty list, dried fruits. So everything's peachy until the fruit gets dried. Why is that? Well, because of the potassium, of course. I know this may sound confusing, but let me explain why bananas are fine and dried apricots are not. So almost all high potassium fruits and veggies have been let off the hook for people with CKD, but there are still exceptions to the rule. Because you see, while the effect of dietary potassium on serum potassium was vastly overestimated, eating potassium-rich fruit will still raise your serum potassium a little bit. I mean, a little bit if the fruit you eat is a banana or an avocado. And that's fine, because these fruits are full of vitamins, healthy minerals, and plant compounds. But do you know what fruit has 5 times or more the potassium in a banana, but without the vitamins? Dried apricots, raisins, or prunes. Yeah, when these fruits dry out, they lose a lot of nutrients but cling onto potassium like it's their life mission. So yeah, most fruit are healthy, but with a few exceptions. Let's now take a look at what I consider probably the most dangerous fruit out there. Of course, it's the grapefruit. Never eat grapefruit if you have kidney disease, or really, ever. And with that, the part about fruit is concluded. Let's talk about veggies.
What?
Wait, you also want to know why is this seemingly innocent fruit so bad when everything else on the tree is fine? Well, what not many people know is that grapefruit can have interactions with almost all medications. Grapefruit interacts, for example, with statins, with calcium channel blockers, with the medications taken by transplant receivers, with prostate medications, with opioids, and a lot more actually. But why is that? Well, you see, there is an enzyme in your liver called cytochrome 450 that's needed to metabolize and remove all these medications after they have done their job, alright? But grapefruit contains bergamottin, which is an inhibitor of this enzyme. So these medications will stay in your system much longer when taken with grapefruit, turning your daily routine into a medication roulette. And trust me when I say that you don't want to take part in that. Seriously, it's a lot better to just avoid the grapefruit than to deal with all these extra side effects of the medications that are changed by your liver. I mean, there are a million other fruits that won't turn you into a walking chemistry experiment, right? And with that, the part about fruit is concluded. I hope I've brought some clarity about what kidney patients can eat and what is dangerous. Let's try and do the same with veggies now, starting with legumes. Are they healthy? Are they bad? To no one's surprise, legumes are on the healthy side of the renal diet. Yes, legumes in general are super healthy for you, and as we can see from the study, almost all legumes are considered healthy. Legumes are in fact full of fiber, vitamins, healthy minerals, and plant compounds. And this includes fresh, of course, frozen, and also canned. In fact, just like canned fruit, canned legumes can be healthy. Just keep in mind that many brands can their legumes in water and salt. Alright, so hunt for low sodium options and give them a good rinse. And just like for basically any other food, mind your portion size as well. Keep in mind that most legumes are rich in protein, and that's something all CKD patients are supposed to restrict. The exception, string beans, the underdog of legumes, low in protein but high in health benefits. I mean, if string beans had dating profiles, it would say rich in fiber, low in drama. Up next, potatoes. Okay, this one is going to be controversial. Are potatoes good or bad? So according to the very large study published on the AJKD, potatoes are not good for you. Yes, believe it or not, they've lumped all potato preparations together and chucked them onto the nasty list. French fries, tater tots, potato chips, yeah, that's junk food of course. But boiled potatoes? They got thrown under the bus too. Yeah, I know. I mean, I've recommended certain types of potatoes, not French fries, in many of my videos. So, was I wrong about potatoes? Well, not at all, and I will keep recommending certain types of potatoes. First of all, because boiled potatoes are not junk food at all. They are nutritious and healthy if prepared the right way. Why have they put boiled potatoes in the unhealthy part of the renal diet then? Well, in my opinion, it's only a matter of simplification. Look, it takes a long time to explain a patient that, yeah, potatoes are fine as long as you only eat them boiled and without too much oil or salt, of course, and that if you have diabetes, it's even better to boil and then refrigerate potatoes before you eat them. And listen to me, don't throw away the peel. Okay, I mean, this is something I can explain in one of my long format videos, but in the context of a very large study, there was really no reason to dedicate this amount of space to potatoes. It's just easier for the study to lump them all together and say, avoid potatoes. I mean, unless they're sweet potatoes and yams, of course, because those are the angels of the potato world, as we can see. So what's the big difference between potatoes and sweet potatoes? Well, the big difference is that most people don't just fry sweet potatoes. Yep, it's just that. This is why sweet potatoes and yams are in the healthy part of the renal diet with basically any veggie known to mankind as well. And interestingly enough, all kind of nuts are also in the healthy part of the renal diet as well, including, as we can see, peanut butter and other nut butters. Now, while you can go crazy with most veggies, actually, I recommend great moderation with peanut butter and similar. These are caloric dense foods that are also rich in protein. Always make sure you can fit them in your daily target for protein and calories as well. And now you may ask, but Catherine, you said that some veggies in our pantry are actually dangerous. What are they? Well, what I want you to be extremely cautious with from now on is vegetable oils. Yes, including, but now just olive oil, coconut oil, and all the other healthy oils. Here's the kicker. Oils are insanely caloric dense, worse than peanut butter. And frying your food in oil, that's a recipe for disaster linked to higher cholesterol, more arterial plaque, and damage to your heart and kidneys. Okay guys, as you can see, we've uncovered a long list of foods here you can eat and of some foods you need to avoid. I hope this video will make your diet easier and that will help you get the results you want. And if you think I've missed anything, let me know in comment section. Or if you want to see more healthy foods, watch my video up here. And this is all for today. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Bye-bye.